It's alright.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Yo guys, what is up? Moxie here with another Borderlands 3 video, and today we are going to be doing a tier list of every single class mod in the game. We got a lot of great feedback on our last tier list, which was ranking every single weapon in the game. We've learned some things. We have now labels on all of the class mods so that when you go into the image, you can see the names of all of them. I apologize for not doing that on the weapons, but now we have the name of every single class mod on them. How this is going to work, if you haven't seen one of my tier list videos before, we have our 5 tiers. We have the that's a lot of damage, that's good damage, that's some damage, that's okay damage, and delete this 0 damage involved. No. We're going to be ranking these class mods and comparing them to their own, like on the same Vault Hunters, so I'm not going to compare Moa's class mod to a Zane class mod. Also, the link to the full tier list will be in the description. This is just going to be one video, and the link will be there if you want to create your own to share it with friends. Hope you guys enjoy the video. Hope you learned something new. If you do, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We got to do this all in one video. We got a lot to talk about, so let's get right into it. We're starting off with the Blastmaster comm for Moes. The Blastmaster comm is one of my favorite class mods in the game for Moes. It's the class mod I use on my Firehouse Moes, which to this day is still my best Moes build. If you want to check out Firehouse Moes, the link will be up there. Basically, the Blastmaster is going to give you bonus splash damage as you continue firing, and it'll give you increased splash damage the longer you fire. It gives points into redistribution, which is what you're going to be looking for, and some other great skills. But primarily, the Blastmaster gives you increased explosive damage. It gives a lot of it, and is the highest damage class mod that I use on Moes. Definitely a must-have if you're playing Moes, and I'm going to put it starting off in the that's a lot of damage tier because it's my favorite Moes class mod. Next, we got the Antifreeze class mod. The Antifreeze class mod is an interesting one because if you slap it on and you play around with it, you're probably not going to love it. But if you are using specific builds with Zane and you're trying to squeeze out the most damage from it, it is Zane's best bossing class mod. The Antifreeze is going to give you bonus damage while sliding or while airborne, and while it is annoying to do that for mobbing, it's not a great mobbing class mod. You can get some great damage out of this class mod, and for that reason, I'm going to put it in that's some good damage. I recommend using this class mod with Torgue Stickies, launchers, delayed projectiles is kind of the name of the game for this, or delayed explosions. Next, we got the Bloodletter. The Bloodletter is a really unique class mod for Moes. It's basically going to turn any healing that you would have gotten into healing for your shields. Bloodletter Deathless is a great combo. It's going to double the size of your shield, take away your health, and allow you to sustain your shield. Doesn't give much damage. It's mainly a conversion, and I don't think it's super necessary unless you're running a lower level shield, which is what I like to do with it, aka a level 1 rerouter for amp damage on every single shot, which I used on my Livewire Moes build. I'm going to put it in that's good damage because I would rank it as Moes' second best class mod. Next, we got Bear Trooper. Bear Trooper is a Moes class mod that is not even her best Iron Bear focused class mod, and it's Iron Bear focused class mod. Not very good. I wouldn't delete this because it's not useless, but it's okay. Next, we got the Bounty Hunter class mod. Now, Fleck's class mods are interesting because they're all pretty good. I wouldn't say that there is a super must-have obvious use best class mod for every situation, but the Bounty Hunter is a very good one. The Bounty Hunter, how it works is basically going to convert bosses into normal enemies when it comes to your skill tree, so that the bonuses that you get on Fleck's skill tree towards normal enemies will count towards bosses, which is really nice and gives you a chance to proc your kill skills. It is a really solid all-around Fleck class mod for any scenario, and in my opinion, is one of his best class mods. For that reason, I'm going to be putting it in that's a lot of damage, because I think it's a really good class mod for any situation. You can't go wrong with it. Next, we got the Breaker class mod. The Breaker class mod gives you damage reduction and is focused in the green tree on Amar. It is focused on melee damage, and It doesn't even give melee damage. It's passive. You need melee damage on its 1 out of 1 point for it to be even useful. I used to use this on every melee build, but ever since the driver came out, melee hasn't been that great on Mayhem 4, and I'd actually recommend using a driver class mod with White Elephant stickies for melee with the face puncher with the driver instead of the breaker to do the most melee damage you could possibly get. So the breaker is by no means a bad class mod, but it is outshadowed right now, and I'm going to be putting it in That's Okay damage. Cold Warrior class mod, not a great Zane class mod. It's not his worst one, but there's a lot better options. I'm going to be putting it in That's Okay damage. Deadeye class mod is going to give you bonus damage when enemies are at a certain health pool, bonus damage against enemies that are healthy. The Deadeye is a really good class mod because you can get bonus points into Two Fang, and if you're running the correct spec, you can get a ton of extra projectiles out by getting 5 points into Two Fang. That allows you to basically double your DPS, but without that, it isn't great. It is still a very good class mod for Fleck though, and I'm going to be putting it in That's Good damage because I personally like the Bounty Hunter more, except for in specific situations. Next up, we got the Dragon class mod for Amara. Bad class mod. It triggers your action skill augments when you melee. It's 0 synergy. It makes no sense to use. Do not use this class mod. Do not attempt to use this class mod. I've tried everything. It's useless, and whoever made it was not thinking properly when they did it. I don't mean to be harsh, but I just don't get where they were going with it. Same with the Elementalist. Another Amara comm that is cool when you're leveling, but for Mayhem 4 viability, you will never ever use these at the moment of making this tier list. So next up we have the Executor. The Executor class mod for Zane is a staple for Zane players, or was a staple for Zane players before the Seeing Dead came out. The Seeing Dead is now the most OP class mod probably in the game. But the Executor is a skill focused class mod that when Zane kills an enemy, he gets bonus accuracy, critical hit damage, status effect chance. Some nice bonuses. Mainly it boosts good kill skills, or good skills in his tree, and is a very, very good Zane class mod if you don't have the Seeing Dead one. So I'm going to be putting it in That's Good damage. Next up we have the Friendbot class mod for Fleck. Now I don't think this is a good class mod. Basically the Friendbot is going to increase Fleck's pet damage, and when he kills an enemy his pet gains a second wind. Pet focused builds right now unfortunately are not in a very good place. They're pretty awful actually, like unusable. So at the moment, if you had all access to all of Fleck's legendary class mods, I would never use this one, so I would put it in delete this. 0 damage involved. Maybe some Fleck builds will get some, or pet builds will get boosted in the future, but at the moment it's not good. Next we have the Golden Rule class mod, my nemesis. For those of you who don't know, I made a video on the Golden Rule. I liked the Golden Rule, then I tried to make a serious build with it, and well, you can phase slam till your heart's content. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't synergize well. The only thing the Golden Rule class mod is giving you is cooldown. You get better cooldown with other class mods, such as the Phase Zerker. It doesn't do nearly as much damage as just using the driver. You can make builds with it. You can totally use it, but in the end, there are just better things to use. It's not Amar's worst class mod by any means, but it's okay. Next, we have the Green Monster class mod. The Green Monster class mod is very solid for Mo's, but its current effect right now, or its ramp up to be able to do damage, is really poor. The Green Monster class mod is going to give you bonus corrosive damage the longer you hold down the trigger. The amount of time you need to hold down the trigger to get up to full corrosive damage, which is 75%, is a lot. Currently, the Green Monster class mod is best for just getting bonus elemental damage to proc bonus projectiles on weapons that are affected by that, such as the Recursion, the Carrier, Luciad's Call, Rowan's Call, King's Call. For actual damage as a class mod, it's not very good, and there isn't a lot of places where you really need corrosive damage. Even the takedown, I wouldn't really recommend it that much. So Green Monster class mod is by no means her bad class mod, but we're going to put it in That's Some Damage because it's okay. Next up we have the Infiltrator class mod. Interesting one on Zane. How it works is you get bonus damage and movement speed when his shields are low. Now this could be very cool in theory. In play, it doesn't work that great. It's not a horrible class mod, but I personally don't like it, and I haven't made a build with it. There's probably some untapped potential with it, but I haven't experimented with this class mod that much to make it super good. So I'm going to be putting it in... We'll put it in that some damage. That's a fair place for it. Next up, we got the Minesweeper class mod. Really interesting. There's a lot of interesting class mods. The Minesweeper is one of them. When you crit an enemy with Moes, you have a chance of dropping a grenade. That grenade will explode and do damage. Now, the scaling of the grenade is scaled off of your base weapon damage, and you can get some crazy chains using this. If you can consistently crit an enemy with a lot of damage over and over again, you can start proccing grenades out the wazoo. That'll do a ton of DPS. It's mainly a boss killer class mod, not super great for mobbing compared to Bloodletter or Blastmaster, so I'm going to be putting it in that some damage, as it's a little bit more niche of a class mod. Next up, we have the Nimbus class mod. Very niche class mod. If you don't know about the Nimbus, you should go watch my Nimbus build right up here, because the Nimbus is capable of pumping out some of the most damage in the game. The Nimbus scales dot damage of your action skill, or basically gives your action skill dot damage. It scales that dot damage off of your current weapon that you're holding, and so when you hold an ion cannon with the Nimbus and use an action skill, you can pump out absurd dot damage, one-shotting any enemy in the game with your class mod. But if you're using just normal weapons, if you're using a Nimbus and holding a Maggie for something like that, you're not going to get hardly any damage. So it's very situational, very niche, but it is crazy powerful if used correctly. For that reason, I'm going to be putting in the good damage because I think it's better than the Breaker. The Phase Zerker, staple of Amar players before the Driver class mod came out. Very, very good. Gives you damage and cooldown, and gives you bonus rush stacks, which allows you to scale your rush stacks, or it allows you to scale your damage off of your rush stacks. Unbelievably great class mod, well designed, works really well for all Amar builds. We're going to be putting it in that's good damage. Next up, we got the Rack Pack class mod. Rack Pack is newer class mod added with Mayhem 4. Rack Attack is a great action skill with Fleck, and Rack Pack only makes it better, allowing your racks to split out. The best use for Rack Attack that I've found is with the Rack Attack Anointment and Rack Attack Healing, to keep yourself constantly healed and debuffing a bunch of enemies to do a lot of damage. It is a great class mod, but it's overshadowed damage-wise by some other things, but I do really like it. I'm going to be putting it in that's good damage because it is very, very useful. Next up, we got Raging Bear. Raging Bear is Moses' best Iron Bear focused class mod, but it's still an Iron Bear class mod. Basically, while you're an Iron Bear, it's going to give you more damage, kind of give your Iron Bear a kill skill thing to extend its duration and fuel use. Very, very cool for Iron Bear. I use it in the Iron Maiden Moas build, which is a Iron Bear only build that shreks through Mayhem 4. I'm going to be putting it with the that's some damage category. Next up, Rack Commander. Delete this. Don't talk about this terrible, stupid class mod. Next up, Red Faeg. Red Faeg is a class mod for Fleck that is very, very solid when using Gamma Burst. It gives Fleck a lot of survivability and tankiness because it gives the pets aggro during the duration of Gamma Burst. I'm going to be putting it in that sub damage. It doesn't give you much damage, but it's probably Fleck's best survivability class mod. Fleck lacks a lot of survivability, so for that reason, we're putting it there. Next up, Rocketeer. Bad class mod. Delete this. Not worth talking about. Seeing Dead. Zane's best class mod in the game. It boosts his kill skills. When you damage an enemy, you have a chance to proc your kill skills. You're proccing your kill skills constantly. You can never drop your kill skills. It is stupid when used with Blue Tree. The Chain Zane build takes the most advantage of the Seeing Dead class mod and turns Zane into one of the most powerful Vault Hunters ever. It's ridiculous. Definitely get the Seeing Dead. It is a DLC only from the Handsome Jackpot class mod, so if you want it, you have to own the DLC, but other than that, it's really sick. Shock Raiders. Delete this. 0 damage involved. Not a good class mod. Don't like it. Spiritual Driver. Amar's best class mod in the game, arguably the second best class mod in the game, if not the best class mod in the game. The Spiritual Driver is a shining example of how you should design class mods. It has so much synergy with Amara. When you use your action skill, you proc a dot on yourself. Now this doesn't sound great because you're damaging yourself, but that dot procs mindfulness, which gives her movement speed, and the driver gives you more damage the faster you're moving. So every time you use your action skill, you're going to give yourself movement speed to get yourself more damage. And when you're suffering from an elemental effect, you get bonus damage of that elemental effect if you're using an elemental projector. So when you pair this with an elemental projector, it is beautiful. As someone who loves coming up with synergies and things like this in this game, the Spiritual Driver is beautifully designed and is a shining example of what all class mods should be. It's really, really great, and I wish the same amount of thought went into some of these other class mods. Next up, we have the Stackbot. Stackbot is a very, very high damaging Fleck class mod that allows him to build up damage when he's critting. However, it currently resets whenever you do dot damage. Because of this, you can only use Cryo as an element with Stackbot, and people primarily use Jacob's weapons because of Fleck synergies with crit and Jacob's weapon synergy with crit. Stackbot can get ridiculous damage, but its inability to use any elemental weapons does hurt it a lot. For that reason, I'm going to be putting it with the that's some good damage. Next up, we have the Stalker class mod for Fleck. The Stalker class mod for Fleck is really, really great. It's going to boost his kill skills by 25%, or increase the power of his kill skills by 25%, and boost some great skills on Fleck. If you can't tell right now, and I'm noticing this while I'm making this, is Fleck has a lot of very solid class mods. He's a lot of solid class mods to use and pick from, and there are definitely situations that you can use one or the other, but he's got a lot of really solid choices. Between Bounty Hunter and Cosmic Stalker, like, both are really good. Deadeye can be really good. Rack Pack can be really, really good. They're all pretty solid. I hate Rack Commander, but I'm going to put Stalker, Cosmic Stalker, in the good damage as well. Honestly, Deadeye, Rack Pack, Stackbot are all good class mods when used properly. So I wish I was ranking some in That's Okay, but they're all pretty good. So that's how it is. Texpert and end video. Bad. Do not even look at that. Alright, hope you guys enjoyed the video. This was a ranking of every single class mod, a little bit longer. I hope I informed you guys of some things maybe you didn't know. And I hope this was useful. If it was useful, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace!
I live inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in the cradles, profanities. I see the world through ice covered in